Today I am talking about Prokofiev 3, which I am playing soon in Jacksonville, in Florida. And I've been playing this piece for, oh my god. I first started learning this piece in 2006, and so that was 17 years ago. I don't like that fact, but it's true. I love this piece. I will always have a soft spot for this piece. And honestly, like, the piece is pretty much lovable from the jump. It opens with this lovely, brief clarinet solo. But once the piano comes in, it's like immediately off to the races, and it's kind of, it really does have like this whip crack feeling. And so the very first notes of the piano part are, in fact, a quick little retrograde of the opening clarinet. Turns into, and so I also love, like, from this very, very first phrase, you kind of see why this piece is so effective. Prokofiev's sense of tension and release at like a micro level, like within this first melody, is so thrilling. If we play with a metronome, we remember that we're in a nice tight 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It can be hard not to rush, frankly. I mean, that's like one of the hardest things about the piece in some ways, is not letting it run away, because of course the piece has so much passage work in it. So much of the piece is running around. And yet, the most crucial moments are when there are sustained notes or rests or the ends of slurs where there is a tiny little pocket of breath. And the effect of that breath is not necessarily to be an actual break, but rather to generate a little bit of further momentum, tension. And so we see this immediately. Ignore the out-of-tune piano. But we see this immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. It's that sustain, which allows us to knead the next notes. It's all in these moments of release. You know? There's something about the release that really generates desire and need. And what does Prokofiev follow it up with? Prokofiev follows it up with a long sustained, not note per se, but it's long sustained phrase unit. And here is where harmony becomes really important and useful. We can gather that all those notes, right? All those notes actually are basically one long crescendoing sustain. In some ways, this is a way of getting around the basic fact that the piano's notes always decay, that we can't literally let a note grow after we've struck it on the keyboard, right? If we were to do it that way, it'd be a little bit hard to really create the tension and a crescendo across 2 bars worth of that chord. However, we can instead create texture with that chord, and we're still living on that chord, so we still feel like we're stuck on it, and we still feel like we're like creating tension and need to move somewhere else. ratcheting up the tension and then releasing and then doing it again, and it does this at a really detailed level. So there's constantly this like crackling activity like within melodies, phrases, or what have you. And actually, at a larger form level, the piece is somewhat episodic and somewhat mercurial, which is kind of Prokofiev's vibe generally. And so this kind of local tension and release, this sort of these shorter units of tension and release, I think is what gives the piece such a like amazing sense of electricity, I suppose. It's that kind of rhythmic crackling tension, and I think that's also what lends the piece this kind of serrated edge and this like playful but nasty but ironic and ultimately a good-natured quality, but with an edge.